Let me start by welcoming everybody to the Greenlife Festival 2017. Thank you. We are here at Sustainable West Seattle, and we are here to offer our West Seattle neighbors and friends and community a lot of opportunities to understand some of the life choices we're going to have in the next century. I always think in terms of the 10 and under. I see many in front of us, and I know we all know someone that's 10 years and under. Those young people will be older adults at the end of this century. And what I want you all to think about is how they are going to, what we're going to give to them as their legacy and our legacy to be older adults by the years 2080, 2090, in that range. So we have scientific evidence that says we're going the wrong way, but it's up to us to try to change that. So during this next 3 days, we are going to have displays and presentations so you will understand that there are choices for healthier and happier lifestyles. And these are the lifestyles that actually sustain the future, especially for our younger people. So we're going to start the day off today with Sacred Waters Day, and throughout the day we'll be talking about our sacred waters, and that would be the Salish Sea, or what we call the Puget Sound. And that water is a home to many species of mammals and fish in the fisheries that we survive on, and fisheries that are needed to keep a healthy sacred water. During the day you will hear from different scientists as well as different people who are working to make our Puget Sound a cleaner and healthier place and a happier place for all those marine wildlife. So to start the day, though, we're going to do an opening ceremony. Today we have with us Ken Workman of the Duwamish tribe, and he's going to welcome us, the Sustainable West Seattle community, the Greenlife Festival, and all of West Seattleite to their home territory, their home neighborhood, which is the neighborhood of the Duwamish tribe. So I will bring to you now Ken Workman. He'll have a few words to say, and I hope that you all will have the chance to listen to our natives people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stu. So in our words, in the language that was spoken here a couple hundred years ago and then back to when it was cold. Because we have stories of this land right here, of a great war. A war when the north came down and it was cold here for so very long, and then the south wind came and they fought and fought. And the north was defeated, and then it became warm again. And so as Duwamish, it's nice to be back here on this land. And when I say this land, we're talking about our ancestral land, because we've all kind of spread out a little bit these days. Some of us are still here. Many of the ancient ones, Yayalab, these are the people that have passed. And from those days when it was cold until today, all of that DNA is sitting right underneath your feet. And I say feet like that because some of you are sitting down. But in all the hills that you see around Seattle, in all of these places, these are where the ancestors are. And when we talk about Yayalab, these people that have passed, we're of course talking about it in a very small scale. DNA is what we're talking about. And it's because of the way we buried our people. We buried them in the trees all around you for 10,000 years, for 13,000 years. This is what we have been doing. And so all of those people then go down into the ground, and then they come back up, and all the things that you see around you. So when you see these trees right here, these are our grandfathers and our grandmothers, our uncles and our aunts that have passed, and all that stuff comes back up out of the ground. And so while I'm speaking to you in English, proper introduction would be as such. Yayustos. So Yayustos means workman. Yayustos Kizda Ataduabs. I am workman of the Duwamish tribe. And great grandson of Chief Seattle. And so we would also say, it is good to see you, my friends. Adisha Hoda start on this warm day. Adisha Ogura Fata Duams, on this land of the Duwamish. It is good that you're all here. These words, it's a complete sentence really, as simply as thank you, my friends, for your journey, foot journey on earth. Disha Ogura, to this spot at the Dawabs, this place of the Dawamish. That's Quadid. And this is how we say thank you right here. This is how we say thank you. Quadi is the word. But when I say Esquidida, I'm in the state of saying thank you. Esquidida Chud. Chud is me. Esquidida Chud is Yaya. Simply means thank you, my friends. But because so many people come from all around the world, that so many people travel around Mother Earth, this land of the Duwamish, we say as many ways as we can, thank you. And so for our Tlingit friends who come down from Alaska, they use this word Gunol Chish. And so we say Gunol Chish Disiyaya. Thank you, my friends. And then if you come down south a little bit to where the Haida live, the Haida go Hawa. This is the word they use for thank you, and their neighbors, the Simpsian, Deutschem is their word. If you come down just a little bit further, another couple 100 miles, 300 miles, and you go to the west coast of Vancouver Island, and you talk to the Nuu-chah-nulth, they will use the word Eiko. It means thank you. Come south another 150 miles or so to the south end of Vancouver Island, and you run into the Saanich, and you run into the Lummi, and they use Haiska. They go Haiska Siem. Siem means honored person to them. Siab down here. And just north of us, just a little bit, we have our Tulalip friends, and they use the word cake. So they say, Otikutsi Disiyaya. Thank you, my friends. And then for us around here, the Suquamish, the Duwamish, the Puyallup, the Muckleshoot, we use Quadi. That's Quadid of Chet, means thank you. And then of course we can't forget our friends on the Columbia at the mouth. They use this word Masi. So they say Hayo Masi, big thanks. And so we say thank you in as many languages as we can to all the people that journey to this place, to this land, the land of our ancestors. And so it's important that we recognize all the people that are here today. And so just like my grandfather, the person that you know is Chief Seattle, when he stood on the shore, just right over here, just down the hill, at the mouth of the Duwamish, when people came, it was only 170 years ago or so, they came around that bend. He stood on that shore and he said something to the effect of Tlahlil, which means come ashore, bring your canoes ashore. Tlahlil Disiyaya Adisha Ogura. Bring your canoes ashore. Guyi Disiyaya Adisha Ogura Fata Duwabs. Siyak kids down. And that last little part, I'll fix it in a minute. Tlahlil, bring your canoes ashore. You are welcome here. Bak atatistel befokiti da skoiswa turte guiguhidak Adisha Ogura Fata Duwabs. All people are welcome here. And so these are the words that my grandfather spoke just a handful of years ago. And so it's my honor, it's my privilege to speak these words to you today. Kind of keep it in the family. And so when I say Gwigwi Hidaktisiyaya, Dwadagwi Ibashida Fadisha Ogura Fata Duwabs Asdat. Welcome, my friends. You are welcome here onto this land of the Duwamish today. Thanking all people. Good. God will give you good heart. Hey, big thinking. Stop. For all things we think. And so you travel in a good way, and so you are welcome here onto this land. One could argue when you said, hey, come here to Seattle, did you imagine this? So we stand here today as Aqua Yegua. This means great great. Aqua Yegua, Siap Siap, great grandson of Chief Seattle. It's an honor to welcome everybody here onto this place, this sustainable West Seattle, because this is actually my home. I was born and raised right over here on Pigeon Point. And so Puget Park and the entire west bank of the Duwamish River, those are all my woods. And so in those woods were all of our rope swings, and those woods were all the creeks and the crawdads. And as a young child, this place, Seattle, was heaven. Today we sit here and we look at these trees as Duwamish people, and we know that the ancient ones are still alive, they're still in the ground. All that DNA is still down there for 10,000 years. And it comes back up every spring, that you know, when these leaves fall, and the leaves come off of the trees in the fall, and then in the springtime it all comes back. All that material, all that water, all that DNA comes back up out of the ground. So at the Teyayali Hali at the Swatswatufti, it simply means the ancient ones, they live in the trees. We are very blessed to be here in Seattle because the city is so very, very new, that the native people are still here. They're still alive and they walk on this ground. And so you're breathing the air. I say, Esquidita Kaya Yavsa Patual Dagwi Hikoyayus. And this is thank you, grandmother, and thank you, grandfather, for your work. Because these trees, this grass, all of these plants are working very hard to give us the oxygen that we breathe. And so as Duwamish people, when we're in this city, we know that these trees are our ancestors, and they are working to give us the very air that we breathe. The grass that you're sitting on is working very hard to do the very same thing. And when we walk in the woods, and there's still some woods around here, and we see some berries, and we eat those berries, we know that these are our ancestors. And so as Native people, we have a direct living connection to everything that you see around you. So it's not a magical thing. And so in 1854, when Grandpa, Chief Seattle, wrote a speech, or made this speech about the web of life, and how we're but a strand in that web of life. And how can man own the land? Man doesn't own the land. People are part of the land. He wasn't saying anything different than anybody else at that time knew, that we're all part of this land. And so we know that our ancestors are here with you, and they're working hard, and that you, by being here, are sharing that very existence with them. And so if this was a few hundred years ago, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, and you said, what tribe are you of? We would have said Duwamish. And so we welcome everybody here today onto this land of the Duwamish. And Duwamish, this word do, it means inside, and mish is people. So in this area around here, when you hear these words called mish, Suquamish, Snohomish, Duwamish, mish is people. And so the people are of a place. So all you have to do is figure out what the first part is. Suquamish, Clearwater people. Snohomish, well, they don't know. I already asked the chief, what's that mean? He couldn't tell. Sammamish. Sammamish, it means gathering, a small gathering. And so these are places, and these are people of these places, and we just happen as Duwamish people to be here. And so it's an honor, as I said before, it's an honor, it's a privilege to stand on this stage and look upon you today. Look, lob means to look, and say, Gwigwi Hidak, Gwigwi Hidak, Gwigwi Hidak. Adisha Ogurafata Duwamish. Welcome, 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 my friends, onto the land of the Duwamish. Boy.
Thank you, Ken, very much for those words. It's amazing how many ways our Native brothers and sisters have to say greetings and to say thank you. Seems like something we could all work on. I think we have our own ways of doing it. We just have to use them. So let me give you a little more information about the Greenlife Festival as we go through our 3 days. Today is Sacred Waters Day, as you found out. We'll be working on that all day. Tomorrow is actually a big day for us. We start out the day with Bill Moyers of the Backbone campaign, and we're going to learn a lot about what's called transition. So tomorrow is about approaches to transition. So in order to make these goals that we're going to set for ourselves, in order to make sure that our 10 and under people are going to have a good place on earth when we move on, the way we're going to do that is we're going to do it through a transition. So tomorrow's all about transition. One of the transitions we know is going to happen is we're going to have a new mayor of Seattle. Tomorrow is going to be a good day to find out who that might be, or who you would prefer it to be. 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, right here on this stage, right here in this area. You can ask the questions of 15 different mayoral candidates at 2 p.m. So we're going to have the largest mayoral debate the city's had so far, just before the primary. It's just around the corner. So we're going to see who's going to lead this city. The city is named after Ken Workman's grandfather, City of Seattle, Chief South. So that is on tomorrow. And then as we go through the day, we have many other presentations. Tomorrow night is going to be West Seattle Meaningful Movies. One of those projects, you'll see many of those projects being represented here from Sustainable West Seattle. West Seattle Meaningful Movies is one of those projects. This is a group that gets together to show movies that don't have violence somehow, don't have wars going on, don't have all that other garbage that we see in every movie house in the nation these days. Without it, you wouldn't get a rating, right? So you wouldn't get the critics to support you. We don't care about the critics. We care about having a meaningful message on every movie we show. So Meaningful Movies here, 8 p.m. tomorrow night. The stage will be set up as a theater. You can bring your own chair for the lawn, or as you're doing right now, sit right on the lawn. We did ask parks to not have the sprinklers on. We'll see if they comply. Maybe a little later today while you're sitting here. We'll see if they got the message or not. So at any rate, that's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. The movie we will be showing is called Transition 2.0. And that gives us a lot of the step-by-step guidelines of how communities around the world have already taken on the transition. And I always say it this way. The transition is started. When you look around, you see your neighbors putting up solar panels. You see people driving electric cars. You see bicycles everywhere. Electric bikes, regular bikes. People using our transit system. There's a transition already going. We just need to fertilize it. I always say that in terms of that gardener in me. I like to grow my own food, and a lot of people do that. We'll talk a lot about that as well. So we're going to set up here a little bit. So very shortly from now, we're going to hear from Lasana Lahner. She is the person who's in charge of the SR3. That would be, SR3 stands for Southern Region 3 Pod, or our orca or killer whale population from Southern Region, the one that's suffering so bad. There's only 75 left of a very, very generous population at one time. And she will be telling us a lot about what we can do to support the continued health of our orca population, as well as she will be telling you about our rescue stations. So we do have a rescue network that goes pretty much around the whole Pacific, all the way through the Gulf, all the way up the Atlantic coast. But guess what? Washington, Oregon has not had those rescue stations set up. These rescue stations are there to respond rapidly to any beached whale or any